Morning, say go. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Cooking with Kids. Today we're going to be making some super simple meatballs. The ingredients we're going to use this week are 1 pound of ground beef, 1 egg, a half cup of milk, a tablespoon of grated Parmesan cheese, half a cup of breadcrumbs, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. We're also going to need a couple other things from around the kitchen, which include a large mixing bowl, a baking sheet, and some tin foil. Before we get started, we're going to have to preheat our ovens to 450 degrees. Go ahead, do that, grab everything you need, and then come and meet me back here. We've got all of our ingredients and I think we can get started. The first thing we need to do is open up this ground beef and put it into our mixing bowl. Now we can get our hands ready because we need to break this up a little bit. Go ahead and use your fingers to break up the meat. This way, when we add the rest of our ingredients, we'll be able to mix it all well together. Now it's time to start adding the rest of our ingredients. Half a cup of breadcrumbs. We can go ahead and sprinkle those in. 1 tablespoon of grated Parmesan cheese. Now we need half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Yep, that looks like half a teaspoon to me. Go ahead and just sprinkle that over the top. And now the onion powder. We're just going to do the exact same thing. It's a half a teaspoon. And sprinkle that in too. Oops. Our pepper. So for our pepper, we only need a 1/4 teaspoon. And the last of our dry ingredients, the salt, half a teaspoon of salt. So that's all of the dry ingredients. Now it's time for the wet ones. We've got 1 egg. I like to crack mine in a separate container or bowl just to make sure I don't get any shells. In you go, egg. And last but not least, the milk. We need to add half a cup of milk. I'm using a 1/4 cup measuring utensil, so I need to use this 2 times. Now we've got all of our ingredients inside of the bowl. That's it. That's all of the ingredients. What do you think we need to do next? Time to get a little messy. Now we're going to gently mix all of our ingredients together. But we need to be careful that we don't overmix. So we're just going to squish everything together a few times to make sure it's all combined. Once I feel like everything is combined, I just start folding the meat over. What I want to do is make sure that it starts to form together and make one big giant meatball. When that happens, I know that we'll be ready to start rolling. There we go. Before we move on to the next step, we need to take a few minutes to go and wash our hands. My hands are clean. I've got my baking sheet and my tinfoil. Let's cover our baking sheet with a piece of tinfoil. Try to center it as best as you can and make sure you press down so that the edges of the tinfoil come up along the sides of the baking sheet. Now we're ready to roll. You can either use a cookie scoop or your hands, and what you want to do is divide the meat mixture into whatever size meatballs you'd like. So we just grab some of the mixture and roll, 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 and there we go. How many meatballs do you think you're going to be able to make? I've got 4 so far. Keep on rolling. While you're rolling up your meatballs, maybe you can talk about what you want to do with them once they're cooked. How are you planning to eat your meatballs? Phew, I've got 20 meatballs so far. How are you doing? There's 24. Holy, I've made 28 meatballs. Now they're ready to be baked. Go ahead and place your meatballs in your preheated oven. They're going to need to bake anywhere between 10 and 14 minutes, depending on your oven, of course. Here are a few ways that we like to enjoy these meatballs at our home. Spaghetti and meatballs is definitely a favorite. You could also put your meatballs into barbecue sauce or some kind of sweet and sour sauce. Sometimes we'll take our meatballs and make meatball subs or sandwiches by placing meatballs onto some bread with some sauce and cheese. And we also enjoy Swedish meatballs, which is meatballs and gravy over top of rice or egg noodles. We hope you enjoyed this week's super simple meatball recipe and can't wait to hear about how you chose to eat your meatballs. Until next time, Ona!